Hello, and welcome to the second official episode of All Things Mystery Podcast. I am your host, Sarah Morgan, and as promised, we will first cover a true crime case out of Battle Creek, Michigan in the summer of 2020. Although I was planning to cover this case before the recent news broke, it is now a timely case to discuss in light of recent events in the news with the case of Gabby Petito, who was also a beautiful young woman who disappeared while on a trip exploring national parks with her fiancé, Brian Laundrie, according to the FBI in Denver. Today, September 21st, 2021, autopsy results confirmed that remains found Sunday in the Bridger-Teton National Forest are those of Gabby. Her manner of death has been ruled a homicide, with the cause of death pending final autopsy. Gabby's fiancé Brian is considered a suspect and is currently missing after leaving his parents' home in Florida last week. For our case, our victim's name is Amber Griffin, a beautiful 27-year-old mother of two kids, a 7-year-old boy and 11-year-old girl. Amber lived outside Battle Creek, worked for a local manufacturing facility, and had been dating her boyfriend, Derek Horton, for 5 to 6 years. Our story begins on the evening of June 22, 2020, 10:02 p.m., when Amber texted her mom, Carmen, "Tell DC and Mello, who were her kids, I love them and I promise life will be better for all of us soon. I just wish things were different. I love you." Carmen did not see the text until the next day when she texted Amber back. "I got some food from the food bank. Come get it. 10 pounds of chicken fajita strips, LOL." Amber, unfortunately, did not respond, and that would be the last time Carmen would hear from her only child. A couple of days later, on Wednesday, June 24th, Amber's boyfriend Derek showed up at her mom's house asking if Carmen had seen her. He told Carmen that Amber had walked away 2 days earlier from their home after an argument. He told her he had been out looking for her with his family in the meantime. Derek said that Amber had been sitting out in her car in their driveway listening to music and then just walked off around midnight on the evening of June 22nd. After some discussion, Carmen and Derek agreed that they should report Amber missing to the Battle Creek Police Department, which they did. Carmen then texted Amber, "Where are you? I reported you missing. We are looking for you. Call me, please. I am worried about you. Where are you?" On that same day, Carmen paid a visit to the home where Amber and Derek lived together. They lived in a camper at the Creek Valley Mobile Home Park in Bedford Township, which is just north of Battle Creek. Carmen became alarmed when she discovered that Amber's purse, her ID, her cell phone, and the insulin she took for her diabetes were all still in the home. A neighbor of Amber and Derek, whose name is Richard Hines, reported that Griffin's boyfriend drove up in the couple's car on June 23rd, the day after her text to her mom. He said Horton was alone and asked to use his phone. Detective Sergeant Joel Case is leading the investigation.
The original story was that she was outside listening to music in the vehicle, and she just must have up and walked away. Left her ID, her wallet.
Amber always texted her mom back. She had never missed a day of work and was a no-show on Tuesday, June 23rd. Investigators grew even more suspicious when they found blood on the outside of the passenger side door of Griffin's 2003 Chevy Impala, which she shared with her boyfriend Derek Horton. According to Detective Sergeant Joel Case, Horton admitted that some of the blood in the vehicle was Amber's, but he was trying to say it was from her cutting her finger on a Patron bottle or a liquor bottle when it fell and she cut her hand. Police later also found blood in the car's trunk. There was also an alleged history of domestic violence between Amber and Derek. In February 2019, Horton was charged with assault with intent to do great bodily harm, and in November of that year with domestic violence. Both times, Amber was listed as the victim. In the February case, records show he was charged with a felony, accused of assaulting her at the O'Connell Lodge Hotel in Battle Creek, where he was living. According to Carmen, Amber's mom, she had jumped out of a 2-story hotel window trying to get away because she said he was going to kill her, and she couldn't get out the door, so went out the window, breaking both wrists, and had a broken nose where he had punched her. Griffin signed herself out of the hospital the next day. According to Carmen, I took her home with me. 20 minutes later, she was gone. Carmen had repeatedly tried to get Amber to leave Derek. According to Carmen, until she met him, she loved to go out and have fun with her friends and hang out with Carmen and the kids. Once she got with Derek, it was like she was not allowed to come around nobody and was always beat up. Eventually, the assault charges against Horton were dismissed. Again, according to Carmen, Amber was scared of him and knew she could not go to court because he wouldn't let her go to court. She would not leave him because he would threaten Carmen, he would threaten to do something to the kids. And Carmen shared with Amber, "It doesn't matter, I'll deal with him. You have to get away from him or he's going to kill you." Amber said, "Mom, I know." Derek Horton was the reason that Carmen started caring for Amber's 2 children, and she still is. According to Carmen, she literally had to take the kids away when Amber met him because of how abusive he was. Unfortunately, statistics show that nearly half of all women, 48%, have experienced psychological aggression by an intimate partner in their lifetime, and more than 1 in 3 women, or 45.6% in the U.S., have experienced rape, physical violence, and/or stalking by an intimate partner. In fact, according to the NCADV, National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, leaving an abuser is the most dangerous time for a victim of domestic violence. Domestic violence is an epidemic affecting individuals in every community, regardless of age, economic status, sexual orientation, gender, race, religion, or nationality. For anonymous confidential help available 24/7, you can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. Another neighbor of Amber and Derek, named Michael Kreinbrook, said that Amber and her boyfriend had only lived in the camper at Creek Valley for a few weeks, but it was long enough for him to realize that something was wrong. According to Michael, she had black and blue eyes while here. This man was very abusive. They invited me into their trailer, and she looked at me. I didn't understand the look at that time, but I think it was a look for help, and I didn't notice it, but I wish I would have, because I would have tried to save her from that man. I really would have. Investigators discovered a 911 call had been made from Amber's cell phone at 2:02 a.m. on Tuesday, June 23rd, just hours after her last text to her mom. Carmen later listened to some of the 911 call, just enough to ID the voices of her daughter and Derek. Even with GPS, police at the time of that call couldn't pinpoint where it came from and couldn't find the woman. According to the dispatcher, she was able to hear what sounded like a man and a woman having a fight. According to Detective Sergeant Joel Case, they were checking the area that the phone call came in but found nothing at the time. They did quickly learn, however, that the call had come from a 2-story home on Oneida Street, and that Amber and Derek had been there. According to Detective Case, it was a gathering, a couple of people hanging out. They were smoking weed, drinking booze, hanging out, having a good time. Charles Walker III owns the home on Oneida Street, which is one of our scenes. His grandson, Julius Haggerty, police say, is a friend of Derek Horton. Mr. Walker told News Target 8 that his grandson and others were gathered outside on the night of the party, June 22nd, in the early morning hours of June 23rd as well, but that the party never got inside. He said he didn't know Amber or her boyfriend and didn't know they were there that night. He said he went to bed at 11 p.m., 3 hours before Griffin's 911 call for help. When police searched the house days after that, they found signs of a struggle. According to Detective Case, there was blood on all 3 levels of the house: the basement, the main level, and the upstairs portion. According to Detective Sergeant Joel Case, there was a pretty significant amount. He said he would not be surprised if Amber was alive leaving that house on Oneida, and in fact would say she probably was alive when they left. Police also found blood and hair on a basement window. The glass had been broken outward for that window as if someone had tried to escape. Detectives were confident the blood was Amber's, pending testing. Mr. Walker said he heard none of it. The police say their investigation has found that he was not involved in the disappearance or death. He said police told him they found blood, but only on the basement window. The police theory at the time was that after beating her inside the home on Oneida, Horton followed her outside where he continued the attack. That was explained by a call to Silent Observer after the case had gone public from a tipster describing what he had seen days earlier, the morning of the alleged assault, not far from the home on Oneida. Quote, somebody early morning, that same morning, going to work, saw a man standing over a woman on the side of the road that we believe was likely him in the middle of assaulting her, end quote. The same day that police searched the home on Oneida, they learned that the homeowner, Mr. Walker, also owned a vacant home about a half-mile away on Wabascan Road. In the woods next to that home, at the end of a trail, it looked like something or someone had been dragged, pushing the grass down. And at the end of that trail, the police found a bloody pair of women's pants, with Amber's blood on them. Then came the discovery that changed everything, also outside that home on Wabascan Road. According to Detective Sergeant Joel Case, at the end of the turnaround, there was a receipt laying on the ground. The receipt was from a store called Mix Hardware in Battle Creek for $8 cash, dated June 23rd at 2:31 p.m., about 12 hours after Amber made the 911 call and the day before her boyfriend Derek reported her missing. According to Detective Sergeant Joel Case, we went to the hardware store, we watched the video, and sure enough, it was Derek Horton on video purchasing a shovel. That receipt sealed the deal. That was when he went from being a cooperating boyfriend who was acting as if he was concerned and trying to help police find his missing girlfriend to no more talking, lawyering up, and eventually being lodged in the Calhoun County Jail. Police theory is that Derek Horton dumped Amber in the woods off Wabascan Road before buying the shovel. We have reason to believe that her body probably was laying at least at some point. I don't know if she was dead or alive at that point, according to Detective Case. Police believe he returned to the woods off Wabascan Road with the shovel. However, they aren't sure if he buried her or if he moved her body elsewhere. According to Detective Case, based on his appearance, Derek did not appear as if he was in very good shape. It's not easy work, and he could have gotten defeated and demoralized and decided to do something else with the body. Police said that Charles Walker's grandson, Julius Haggerty, drove Horton to the hardware store to buy the shovel. On June 26, 2020, Derek Horton was arrested and later arraigned on June 29, 2020, and charged with open murder. On July 2, 2020, Julius Haggerty was arrested and charged with accessory after the fact and tampering with evidence and lying to police. Police continued their search of the vacant home and outbuildings on Wabascan Road. They also searched the neighboring woods a dozen times with cadaver dogs, drone, and a state police helicopter. Because they don't have Amber's body, they aren't sure how she died. She could have been strangled, beaten to death, stabbed, or shot.
Very confident that she's deceased. We're very confident that she was the victim of a violent crime, but now, we're trying to work the opposite direction. We're trying to locate a body when we already have what we believe to be the suspect.
Having the body would obviously make the case stronger. Even without a body, police feel that they have a strong case that could convince a jury that Horton is the one who is responsible for killing Amber. On July 12, 2020, volunteers began to search the woods near Wabascan Road. On July 21, 2020, the police sent out a notice asking informants to come forward to help solve the case. On July 28, 2020, family and friends took to the streets of Battle Creek to bring awareness to domestic violence and to ask the community for information. Carmen, Amber's mom, the police, and volunteers keep searching. According to Carmen, they've been everywhere. We don't even know where to go anymore. Something keeps making us come back here, she said, after posting missing person signs on a tree out front of the home on Wabascan Road. A GoFundMe account has been set up to help Griffin's mom in the search and to care for her children. Carmen just wants to know where her daughter is at. On June 23, 2021, a one-year vigil of Amber being missing was held at Lila Arboretum in Battle Creek. In January of this year, preliminary exam was held. 3 days of testimony spread over 3 weeks, concluding on February 9th, were held. Prosecutor David Gilbert argued that evidence placed Griffin's blood at 3 different scenes, including in the trunk of Horton's car. On preliminary exam day 2, Carmen testified and talked about being able to ID Amber and Derek's voices on the 911 call, but couldn't understand what they were saying. Also testifying on day 2 was lab specialist Andrew Olson, who told the court that Amber's blood was found in the basement of the Oneida Street house, and there was a broken basement window with blood and a hair fiber on the window frame. He also located the pair of women's leggings in an overgrown grassy area at 157 Wabascon Road, which was the property owned by the same family who owned the Oneida Street home. Olson said he also found in the grass, not far from the pants, the wadded-up receipt from Mick's Hardware in Battle Creek, and also subsequently viewed the video of Horton purchasing a shovel the afternoon of June 23rd. Olson said hundreds, if not thousands of hours have been spent searching several locations on the ground and from the air without finding Amber's body. One of the residents of the Oneida Street home, Shane Settles, testified that he saw Griffin and Horton at the residence that night, but didn't see an assault or that Griffin was injured. He said the basement was so cluttered it was nearly impossible to move about. And while he said he helped clean the house the next day after a party, he saw stains from old food, rust, and dirt, but not what he thought was blood. Sergeant Ryan Strunk, who was a detective working on the disappearance, said Settles told him at the time that he had cleaned some blood. Quote, he mentioned coming home and seeing blood in the home. He and his brother cleaned up most of the blood, end quote. During cross-exam of Olson, Donald Sapanos, attorney for Derek Horton, suggested that maybe it was too easy that police found the women's pants, some cigar wrappers, and the hardware receipt, and then the video of Horton buying a shovel. Quote, is my guy so stupid that he buys a shovel with no mask and left all those clues and led you right to it? End quote. Detective Sergeant Joel Case told reporters that witness accounts and the 911 call from Griffin's phone don't line up with the story Horton told police. Eventually, detectives located the crime scenes in the city of Battle Creek. They found evidence that looked like it was a violent assault that took place, and they still believe the assault took place with Griffin and Horton. Police say the evidence includes blood in the house and in the car, the 911 call, and the passerby who saw a man standing over a woman in the dark, per the silent observer tip. They also found the bloody women's pants, and especially critical, the $8 receipt to Mick's Hardware. Derek Horton and Julie's Haggerty are currently pending trial and the next steps in their criminal case. If you have any information about Amber Griffin's disappearance or Derek Horton's involvement, please call Silent Observer at 269-964-3888 or the Calhoun County Dispatch at 269-781-0911. Carmen, Amber's mom, is desperate to find her body so that she can give the kids a proper burial and a place to grieve the loss of their mother.